Chapter 30. Stubborn on to Death. The one in front of him was the person who had been beaten almost to a pulp by Long Chen, Xiao Youyang. Martial artists truly did have a tenacious life force. Last time, he had been beaten so badly, but now he seemed totally fine. The Zhao family truly were willing to spend money on their son. Almost every single bone in his body had been broken. It was only by spending a great amount of gold coins that he was pulled back from the gates of hell. But even with the Zhao family's financial resources, his wounds still had been extremely severe. He had come to the guild today to ask for powerful recovery pills. Currently, he was still extremely weak. Ever since he had been beaten, for some reason, he would always start to hallucinate in the middle of the night. Countless demons would plague him, and now he didn't even dare to sleep with the lights off. And furthermore, every morning he would feel his soul ache as if needles were stabbing into him, paining him so badly that he could only roll on the ground. But the alchemists of the guild couldn't find any reason for this suffering, despite examining him multiple times. They could only conclude that it was due to a deficit in ki within him. So they had first to restore his body. But even after half a month had passed, he hadn't improved in that regard in the slightest. The symptoms actually worsened, and even if he didn't fall asleep, he would see countless demons demanding his life. As for the pain in his soul in the morning, it was no longer needles, but a blazing flame roasting him, making it so painful he wished he could die. The current Xiao Youyang was extremely emaciated, and his complexion was turning yellow, a large difference from his old, confident and easy self. Xiao Youyang, it's been a while. How have you been recently? Long Chen smiled as if he were blessing him and cupped his hands in greeting. As soon as Xiao Youyang saw Long Chen, it was as if he had seen a ghost, and his face turned deathly pale. Long Chen. You. How are you? You don't look so good. It really makes me uneasy. I'm just worried about you. How are the demons at night and the soul roasting in the morning? Asked Long Chen. You. How do you know about that? Could it be? It was you? Xiao Youyang's eyes were filled with alarm. He suddenly remembered the medicinal pill Long Chen had fed him after beating him. According to the Alchemist Guild, it had been a pill to protect the organs, and its effect was to make sure that he wouldn't die for a while, despite his internal organ failure. But Xiao Youyang always felt that something was wrong with that incident, and hearing Long Chen's words today, he immediately suspected that pill. Long Chen, those ghosts are definitely yours, you despicable bastard. Xiao Youyang bitterly exclaimed his resentment. Thinking about the pain he had been going through these days, he angrily shouted and charged at Long Chen. A simple slap landed on his face. The force behind it wasn't too great, and it only sent him flying. Despicable? You dare call me that? No matter how despicable I am, it's not even 1/100th of how bad you are. Tell me, just how many despicable methods have you used against me over these years? Long Chen lightly waved his hand and indifferently said, You yourself don't even remember anymore. Being cruel will always have a reprisal. Now that I'm stronger, am I supposed to not get a bit of revenge? The slap on his face completely sobered Xiao Youyang. Despite recuperating from his wounds these days, he hadn't stopped getting information about Long Chen. The fact that Long Chen had beaten an imperial bodyguard of the Grand Xia's prince had completely shaken the capital. That was a true expert in the blood condensation realm. In terms of martial might, Xiao Youyang was no longer a match for Long Chen. In terms of status, Long Chen was a grand apprentice, and he was even less comparable to him. Xiao Youyang couldn't help but being suspicious of what the alchemists at the guild had told him. The Alchemist Guild should be fully aware of all of Long Chen's methods, so they should have been able to cure him. Instead, they had let him suffer endless torment. But he didn't know that he had misjudged the guild. Long Chen had applied a bit of ghost-seeking liquid atop the medicinal pill. Other than Grandmaster Xianxia, no one else in the guild would be able to figure that out. Obviously, the Savage Marquise had no way of inviting someone as grand as Xianxia. Let alone him. Even a prince didn't have that capability. Long Chen, what do you want in order to let me free? Zhao Youyang ground his teeth. Zhao Youyang, what happened to all that unyielding courage of yours? You tormented me for so many years, but I never gave in to you. Now, things have only turned to my side for such a short time. If you want to stop now, it's already too late. Gotta follow the rules of the game, said Long Chen indifferently. He then turned to leave. You really won't let me off? If you want to escape the depths of misery, it's very simple. Take your sword and pull it against your neck. It only hurts for a second, and then you'll be free. Don't beg me for help. Zhao Youyang was so furious his entire body shook. When he was haunted by ghosts and his soul scorched, he truly did want to use death to free himself of the pain. But as soon as that moment passed, he returned to be a normal person and was full of longing towards life. That was the reason why he couldn't even kill himself. If he chose life, it was misery. If he chose death, he was unable to go through with it. Zhao Youyang was about to collapse. He didn't have the courage to kill himself, but if it continued like this, he'd go crazy. Zhao Youyang ground his teeth and actually knelt on the ground. Long Chen, I beg you, I admit defeat. Long Chen's hatred no longer burned as intensely as it had before. The current Long Chen was high and far above Zhao Youyang, and they were no longer on the same level. He didn't place a small ant within his eyes. Long Chen wasn't a priest who would repay enmity with kindness. But looking at Zhao Youyang's miserable state, most of his anger faded. And it was also perfect, since Long Chen was wishing to hear some secrets from him. Just as he reached his hand to rub his spatial ring, Long Chen's spiritual strength suddenly noticed that Zhao Youyang was secretly clenching his fists and was filled with bitter resentment. Long Chen quietly muttered to himself for a half a moment before he coldly smiled. A medicinal pill appeared out of his spatial ring, and then he threw it directly to Zhao Youyang. This medicinal pill is for you. I hope you won't be enemies with me in the future. Otherwise, you'll regret it for a lifetime. Long Chen then left. Zhao Youyang waited until Long Chen was far away before getting up. Looking at his distant figure, he narrowed his eyes. Long Chen, if I don't let you die a miserable death, then I wouldn't be Zhao Youyang. He wasn't afraid of Long Chen poisoning him, because there were several people in the distance who had seen what had just happened. If he really did die from this medicinal pill, Long Chen wouldn't be able to escape punishment. Therefore, he swallowed the medicinal pill confidently. The next day, Zhao Youyang was overjoyed to find that his night terrors were gone, and he no longer had to suffer the feeling of his soul burning every morning. He coldly sneered inside. Long Chen, just wait. The next time I take action, I'll be taking your life in one fell swoop. At that time, the person who will be regretful is you. Back when Long Chen saw Zhao Youyang eat it, he had also sneered. You really are too evil to let live. I actually wanted to spare your life, but unfortunately, you're courting disaster. Brother Long? Long Chen had just been walking along the road when someone suddenly called out to him. He turned to see that it was Fatty Yu. He was amazed to find out that he had actually reached the third heaven stage of ki condensation. Due to his cultivation, his originally fat build now appeared to be sturdy and strong. Fatty, you're not bad. You've already reached the third heaven stage of ki condensation, smiled Long Chen. This is all because of Brother Long, he somewhat bashfully said. Brother Long, I was just thinking about going over to pay a visit to you. What do you need? No. It's just that since I've broken through to the third heaven stage, I feel like I should celebrate. Look at what Xi Feng did. I can't be too shameful in comparison, right? said Fadayu. He advanced to the blood condensation realm, while you are just at the third heaven stage of ki condensation. Why does there need to be some grand celebration? Laughed Long Chen. Those aren't the same. I couldn't even cultivate before, so the celebration this time is definitely on the same level as Shifang's, said Fadayu earnestly. Well, when my bros invite me to drink, I can't possibly say no. Let's go. Yes, perfect. I've already ordered a feast, and we're only lacking you. The restaurant Fadayu had brought him to was in the southern side of the city. Although it wasn't as famous as the one Shifang had brought him to, it wasn't that much worse. When Long Chen entered, he saw that Fadayu had told the truth. Shifang, Shouho, and the others were already here. Brother Long has finally arrived. Long Chen also laughed. He greeted everyone, and as soon as he sat down, the food and drinks were brought out. Today is to celebrate my advancement to the third heaven stage. I've finally taken the first step on my cultivation path, and a bright future has opened up in front of me. This toast is for Long Chen. Everyone loudly praised him. They were all people whose fates had changed only because of Long Chen. Long Chen also didn't stand on ceremony and drank a large cup of alcohol in one go. Everyone was friends, so there was no need to restrain oneself, and everybody drank copiously. Other than Shifang and Fadayu, the rest of them had yet to advance past the first heaven stage of ki condensation. Heroic spirits they had, but a high tolerance for alcohol they did not. After just a few cups, a lot of mouths became unguarded. Brother Long, it's like you're a martial god from the heavens, an unparalleled genius amongst men. We're all wondering just what kind of woman is suitable for you, asked someone with the help of the alcohol. Before Long Chen could even answer, Shouho followed up. At the very least, it's gotta be a princess. As for looks, it's gotta be a beauty capable of captivating the birds and beasts, eclipsing the moon and shaming flowers. And as for cultivation level, that's whatever. In any case, no one dares bully Brother Long. Even the Grand Jaya's prince is not someone he is afraid of. So, his future wife doesn't need to be so strong. Right. In our Phoenix Car Empire, the only one who fits those criteria the best is the third princess, said Fadayu, his eyes lighting up. I've seen the third princess before, and although she's beautiful, that kind of temperament is terrifying. Normal people wouldn't be able to handle it, sighed someone else. That's just because she still hasn't met Brother Long. Even a tiger will become a kitten in front of Brother Long. Long Chen was speechless. When they raised the topic of the third princess, the beautiful image of Chu Yao appeared in his mind. He couldn't help but feel some pity. Chu Yao was actually a gentle-hearted woman, but in order to protect herself, she had to act arrogant and rude toward the world. Thinking about the time they'd had together, a warm feeling filled him. At the same time, he felt awkward inside. Wasn't talking about things like this unworthy of Chu Yao? Long Chen was in the middle of thinking that over when a woman's cold laugh rang out. You outrageous peasants really do think of the craziest things. Is the third princess someone you are capable of discussing? Chapter 30, End.